Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog subject of the night for Wednesday, August 5th, 2015, around 7:15 in the evening, Billerica, Massachusetts. The sun will be going down in less than an hour. Some news report. The NHL has announced it's going forward with the step 2 of the process for the expansion applications for Las Vegas and Quebec City. They're one step closer to being admitted to the NHL, which is going to happen, my friends. The NHL is going to have 32 teams within the next few years, Las Vegas and Quebec City, so get ready. And it's Happy National Lighthouse Day. That's about it on the news. My third and final video blog subject of the night is my personality profile. Tonight's personality profile is about the late great WWE Hall of Famer Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers was one of the most famous heel wrestlers in professional wrestling history. He held the NWA World Title. He patterned himself after the imitators of him were like Nature Boy Ric Flair, Nature Boy Buddy Landau, and others. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers was born in Camden, New Jersey in 1921. His real name was Herman Rhodes, and his parents were German immigrants. He started wrestling, like amateur wrestling, in the late 20s at a local YMCA. He also swam and did track and field and other stuff at the YMCA and stuff. He became a champion swimmer and stuff in his teenage years and stuff like that. Then he got a job in the Doon docks, and then he became a police officer. But he was interested in professional wrestling. And in 1939, he made his professional wrestling debut wrestling under his real name, Herman Rhodes, and he started off doing good. Then he went to wrestle for several regional territories using his real name and stuff, but he lacked character and stuff. And when television started to come around, Herman Rhodes got a new name. It was Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. He dyed his hair from brown to bleach blonde and stuff, and developed a heel persona, and he had great interview skills and stuff. He was a nasty heel using dirty tricks, using his signature figure 4 leg lock, plus the neck break and other stuff. And Buddy Rogers got a reputation for being like a prick backstage and stuff, taking liberties on face wrestlers and stuff. And a lot of wrestlers did not really like Nature Boy Buddy Rogers and stuff. He wrestled all over the territories in the United States, picking up regional titles and stuff like that. In the 1950s, he had a valet. The valet was Lillian Ellison, who was nicknamed Slave Girl Moolah, who eventually became the Fabulous Moolah. They were together for a few years on screen, but the relationship ended because Nature Boy Buddy Rogers wanted to pursue a sexual relationship with Slave Girl Moolah, and she did not want it, so they had to be broken up and stuff. And Nature Boy Buddy Rogers got another heel manager by the name of Bobby Davis, and he worked pretty well. And in the mid to late 50s, Nature Boy Buddy Rogers' bookings were handled by Vince McMahon Sr., who ran the Capital Wrestling Corporation, and Capital Wrestling, which was a strong member of the NWA and stuff. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers was even being considered becoming NWA World Champion, but he was voted down several times. But by 1961, Nature Boy Buddy Rogers was voted the NWA World Champion. In June of 1961, he beat Pat O'Connell in a 2 out of 3 match at the Old Comiskey Park in Chicago, Illinois, becoming the NWA World Champion. And afterwards, at the interview, Rogers says it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And then mainly his title run for 2 years, he was booked mostly exclusively to Vince McMahon Sr., who booked him in the Northeast Territory, the major cities, Boston and New York and Philadelphia and stuff. The other NWA territories were pissed off about that and went like Nature Boy Buddy Rogers went to these other territories to defend the belt. Several wrestlers tried to shoot at him, like shooter, not bang bang, but like try to injure him and stuff like that. Kirill Kowalski and Dr. Bill Miller and a few others try to seriously injure Buddy Rogers and put him out of commission. Even Bruno Sammartino was rumored to be beating him up as well as stuff like that. But by 1963, the NWA had it with like Buddy Rogers as NWA World Champion, so they decided to vote Lou Thesz, who was 46 years old, to come out of retirement to take the NWA World title from Buddy Rogers, and they had a match in Toronto, Canada. What was different about this, usually NWA World title matches were 2 out of 3 falls, but this was only 1 fall, and the promoters and the board of directors of the NWA told Lou Thesz to take the title any means necessary. Plus, in addition, usually the NWA World Champion had to put down a $25,000 deposit when they got the belt, and they would get that belt back with interest, the money back with interest when they lost the title. But the promoters did not like Buddy Rogers or did not trust him. So when Lou Thesz beat Buddy Rogers for the NWA World title in 1963, the board of directors of the NWA gave it to charity and stuff. Charity stuff. What charity? I don't know which one. Maybe they pocketed in themselves. You never know. This got Vince McMahon Sr. and his partners pissed, and they broke off from the NWA and formed the WWF, and they recognized Nature Boy Buddy Rogers as the first WWF championship. They say he won a tournament, a fixiness tournament, in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, by beating Antonio Rocca, but that tournament never existed, so he won it by default. And Buddy Rogers suffered a heart attack weeks after being the first WWF champion, and he lost the belt a short time later to Bruno Sammartino at Madison Square Garden and stuff. And the match was only about less than a minute. Bruno put Buddy Rogers in the back breaker and he submitted and stuff like that. There was rumors that Buddy Rogers had to be taken off of his bed in the hospital so he could drop the title to Bruno Sammartino at the Garden, but those rumors would decline, and there was rumors that Buddy Rogers never even suffered a heart attack and stuff. It was just maybe he probably didn't want to defend the title that much. And then afterwards, Buddy Rogers went into retirement and stuff. He made briefly a comeback in the late 60s for some small promotion in Ohio and stuff, but Buddy Rogers continued to stay retired until late 1978. At the age of 57, he made a comeback. First, he wrestled in championship wrestling from Florida as a face and stuff, feuding with Paxson and a couple of others. Then in 1979, Buddy Rogers becomes a heel manager. He manages Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Ken Patera, Big John Studd, Gene Anderson, a few others. And then he feuds with Nature Boy Ric Flair. And one time during a taping of Worldwide Wrestling, Ric Flair was wrestling a preliminary wrestling. He puts the figure 4 leg lock, and Buddy Rogers critiques this, saying his figure 4 leg lock is awful and stuff. And then Buddy Rogers attacks Nature Boy Ric Flair, beating him up to about doing a blade job and stuff like that. But this was to set up Ric Flair beating Nature Boy Buddy Rogers in around the Mid-Atlantic territory, beating him in 4 or 5 minutes. And that's what happened in several of the major cities in the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. Buddy Rogers eventually left Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling and stayed retired into 1982 when he returned to the WWF, which became the WWE. He had a segment called Rogers Corner, which was a talk show segment and was pretty good. One episode of Rogers Corner, he exposed that Captain Lou Albano stole all of Jimmy Superfly Snuka's money. And then Snuka turned face, and then he asked Buddy Rogers to be his manager, and he did and stuff. And Buddy Rogers and Jimmy Superfly Snuka was manager for about a year or so. And then Rogers Corner was a pretty good talk show segment. And then in late 1983, Buddy Rogers and Superfly Jimmy Snuka faced off against Captain Lou Albano and Don Morocco in a few matches, but Buddy Rogers broke his hip in late December 1983. They were supposed to have a blow off of this feud at Madison Square Garden. Buddy Rogers broke his hip and he couldn't wrestle again, but he still made appearances for WWE TNT. In the mid 1980s, Buddy Rogers opened up a training facility called the Monster Factory, which was co-run by Larry Sharp, and they trained a lot of great wrestlers like Bam Bam Bigelow and Tatanka and Chris Candido and so many others. It was New Jersey. And then Buddy Rogers retired to Florida and stuff. He appeared at some wrestling conventions and stuff like that. In January 1992, Buddy Rogers was going to come back out of retirement at the age of 70 to wrestle Nature Boy Buddy Landel in the Tri-State Wrestling Association in Philadelphia, and the promoters were selling tickets in advance for this event. They said they got a sellout, but a few weeks prior to the match taking place, TWA folded, and that was it. And then Buddy Rogers in the spring of 1992 had a fall and it broke his arm in 3 places, and then he lost a considerable amount of weight. Then he had 3 major strokes, and he passed away in June of 1992 at the age of 71. The WWE posthumously inducted Buddy Rogers into the WWE Hall of Fame in 1994. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers was the greatest heel of all time and stuff like that, and his heel work was awesome and stuff. A lot of heel wrestlers patterned his style after him, like Ric Flair and others. He was a good NWA World Champion and stuff. And even though the wrestlers back in the day when he was wrestling called him prick, when he got older, they mellowed on him, saying he was a hell of a worker and stuff like that. And that's about it on him. That's about it on these video blogs for tonight. Be back tomorrow with 3 more video blogs. First video blog will be about the top 10 cities that should get an NBA developmental team. Second video blog is about why Kmart and Sears is on its last legs and might be out of business within the next couple of years. The third and final video blog of the night will be another personality profile. Will be about the 6-time NWA World Champion Lou Thesz. 10 more days until my first ever Ask Rich video blog, so send in those questions, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I need some. Keep calm. I'm a Julie Brown guy. Molly Rosenblatt, Fox 35 Rocks, and it has nice legs. And the words of Bob Redding, former executive director of the Boys and Girls Club Greater America, that's a possibility. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.